Good evening, everyone. It's great to see a full house tonight. Thanks to the members of the public as well for joining us. We'll start off with apologies for absence. Perfect. So, any declarations of interest? No? Yeah. No, I presume no applications for dispensation. Okay, so first item, report from Ross Police.
So just to avoid any misconceptions, I'll preface what I say with just mentioning that what I'm going to go on to describe is in relation to the policing priorities identified and chosen by the council and our general policing activity carried out in order to prevent or deter crime. So please don't misunderstand this as a report or a statement that any given issue is specifically worsened or the major problem. So my perceptions, personally carrying out foot patrols as part of the Hotspot Patrol initiative that I described when I was last here as a new initiative, have been very positive. So there's been an increased police presence in town, and I think that it's been noticed. I hope it has. I'm hoping that it's been seen as a welcome change. Every day when I'm on foot patrol, people engage with me, and it's always been very positive. And it's positive that folk in Ross are hopefully beginning to feel reassured that it's a regular and ongoing thing and not just a one-off or two-off to tick a box at a particular time. But possibly more importantly, my experience has been that the local residents and people working in town are beginning to recognise and become more and more familiar with the officers, which is obviously a good thing. And hopefully that's providing the reassurance that it's intended to, as well as the increased presence acting as a deterrent or preventative measure in terms of inquisitive crime. In relation to shoplifting, this isn't on my patter, but there have been quite a few prosecutions or charges been put through recently for some prolific shoplifters, so some of those are now being dealt with. In relation to driving speeds around town, it's obviously something that's been identified by the council, as well as raised by many members of the community who contact us in relation to specific locations and times of the day, as well as sometimes identifying specific vehicles, which has been fantastic intelligence for us. And we have been doing targeted speed patrols in these areas and trying to seek the timings where these issues have been identified, and that those mobile speed checks will continue and will continue to rotate around the various identified areas. Lastly, in terms of ASB, which I'm hoping this is also something that's been positively impacted, particularly in town centre, since the increased police presence. And this is also a positive endorsement of the cameras that you guys got established down at the roadwalk. The council recently reported some damage caused to the pirate ship in the children's play park, and you'll be pleased to know that the cameras, by using those cameras, we were able to identify those involved. Having done so, because they had no previous criminal background or weren't previously known to police, we were able to deal with these via community resolutions. And the commitment that those involved had to make in order for the community resolution to be a possibility was they had to agree to write letters of apology, as well as come and do litter picking with us down the road walk. So the litter picking was carried out last Sunday, and it worked very well. They weren't too happy about having to go out and pick litter on a soggy Sunday afternoon, but hopefully it's, it will make them think about the consequences, and they actually did eventually get stuck in and sort of trying to reach the litter pickers into sort of nooks and crannies to get stuff. So hopefully it will help them feel a little bit more invested in the community rather than just there to kind of kick it about. Just to finish, I can let you know that the foot patrols will continue to carry on at the sort of increased rate that they are now. That scheme, as far as I'm aware, isn't planned to change at any point. The speed enforcement will also carry on rotating through those areas. And in relation to the community resolutions, although litter picking or similar isn't really a possible resolution where it's a private individual that might be a victim or even a business, certainly where it's the community that's been impacted by a crime, we'll be looking to implement that sort of resolution in the future, because not only is it actually serves the community a bit of benefit, as I said, it kind of hopefully will make the people involved feel a little bit more invested, and they're not going to want to throw rubbish down there because, well, they have to pick it up. So there we go. So that's what's been happening over, well, since last you were updated.
Brilliant, thank you.
Okay.
Julie,
thank you. The couple of previous council meetings, I wasn't aware of this, but other councillors have mentioned it. The Holmes Road car park and the skate park are known for drug use?
Yes, I did send you an email, and it's my first day back in today, but yes, I was made aware by the clerk that was the case. And yeah, I'm getting on CCTV to try and hone down the time so we can lie in wait, so to speak.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, thanks for that.
You're welcome to stay if you want.
I will get moving. There's quite a lot going on in my area. So,
thanks very much.
Thank you very
Moving on to public participation. It's great to see so many here. If anyone's willing to speak, they just want to raise their hand and I'll call them. Yes. Yep.
Thank you. A bit nervous, I didn't realise there would be so many of you. But I've been asked to speak on behalf of the many local people from all walks of life who support the twinning of Ross-on-Wye and Uganda, which I gather you are discussing later on this evening. Several of us have written letters, which I'm hoping you have read. I'll give you a bit of background first. My name's James Herbert. I taught for many years at Ross Grammar School and John Curl High School, and was involved with starting the link with Kasiki College, Namutumba, Uganda in 1992. Since then, hundreds of students and many teachers have visited Uganda. Dozens of Ugandan teachers have visited Ross. Over the years, the school link has widened to include primary schools, churches, farming groups, hospitals, local industry, Rotary Club, Ross Lions, many more. Royal endorsement. When the late Queen visited John Curl High School in 2013, she signed a letter to Kasiki College, Namutumba, celebrating the link. And when Prince Charles visited Ross in 2019, he spoke with several of us enthusiastically about the link, saying how good it was for both communities. And the link is still very active. Fundraising by students at John Curl High School has resulted in enough funding to bring 2 teachers from Kasiki College to Ross this summer. And only last week, money for school fees was sent to Namutumba, an annual donation by A.J. Lowthers and Sons of Whitchurch. Local pig farmers continue to be supported. All monies are carefully vetted, feedback via invoices and photos are always sent. Now, the LGBTQ issue, we feel exactly the same way as probably everyone here, that we abhor the government in Uganda's stand and their attitude towards LGBTQ people. But this is not a government-to-government link. This is to a poor rural community, miles away from the government, from a rural community in Ross-on-Wye. Might be worth remembering that in the 1960s, the UK was homophobic. A gay man could face prison. My understanding is that the UK at that time was not alienated by more enlightened countries, but instead we learned from them and the law gradually changed. And this would be our hope with continuing strong links with the rural community in Uganda. Who would benefit from cutting the twinning links? No one. Who would lose? Certainly rural communities in Namutumba district. Some of us have been there many times. These are wonderful people. They're poor. They're miles away from the government. They They are scratching a living, and they are so proud of the twinning with Ross. You know, it puts a lump in your throat if you go there and see the hand-painted signs, twinned with Ross-on-Wye UK, around Namutumba. It would do them a lot of harm. I don't think it would do any good. So I hope you will continue to support and celebrate this twinning link between Ross-on-Wye and Namutumba. Thank you.
Any of the members of the public?
I have something that somebody sent me, so.
Okay, well, we're just going to go to the members of the public first. Mark?
I can see there's mention of property portfolio stuff again in here. I think it's a reminder, with it being so busy in here, that's practically bursting at the seams, this small office. And with only we're squeezing in an extra chair, I think we're about one person off being full. So just a reminder really that there's council offices that are much larger up the road that do need to be looked after. The other thing that I was just going to mention is I see that there's the UK Town of Culture Award on the agenda, and it has a working group, and I wonder if we could be enlightened how people can join the working group, because there's so many people with so much knowledge of going back over the last decades and decades of all of the things that have been mentioned already in the last couple of weeks in this context, and of other things that could be taken advantage of. So I think there should be an opportunity for people to join.
Thank you. I think the working group is open to members of the public, but I think that's at the discretion of the working group. So it would be up to them. So, Millie, you wanted to?
Yeah, I have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 emails and messages to read out concerning Namutumba. I haven't even opened those yet. Would you mind, Chair, if I read those out? They're from people that didn't realise Namutumba was on the agenda until today. So from Sam Smith. Hi Millie, I would be grateful if you would read out the following on my behalf at this evening's Town Council meeting. I'm Sam Smith, Chair of Ross Pride Connections, a group working to support the LGBTQ+ community in our town. I apologise for not being there in person, but I was only made aware of this meeting earlier on today. Work commitments prevent me from attending. I understand that a town twinning with Namutumba is on the agenda for discussion, so I wish to register my grave concerns about the prospect of continuing links with a country with such an appalling human rights record, specifically the attitudes towards homosexuality and the death penalty. Whilst there may be benefits to our town in terms of cultural exchange, I feel strongly that twinning with a town in a country with such retrograde attitudes sends a very negative message to the young people in our community and beyond. With the announcement of Herefordshire Council's intention to submit an application to be UK City of Culture, I feel that continuing links with Namutumba seriously weakens the bid for an award promoting creativity, diversity and community engagement. I urge that the councillors listen to the concerns of the LGBTQ+ community and to pause any decision making regarding the continuation of the twinning agreement to allow a proper consultation. That's number 1. Number 2.
I think it might be useful if you don't read their names out.
Oh, right, okay, number 2. Sorry, I thought I was Hi, I'm writing to express my concern about the twin of Ross-on-Wye with Namutumba in Uganda. Laws recently imposed regarding homosexuality and the death penalty should not be something our community supports in any way. It is an infringement of human rights and we should not be associated with this. I feel very strongly concerning this as my child is LGBTQ. I also feel that it's a human rights issue and twinning with towns that have such disregard for human life is unacceptable and unethical. I do not want our town associated with such atrocities. Many thanks. There's another one. Hi Millie, my name is Son. I am a 16-year-old transgender male and a proud member of the LGBTQ+ community in Ross-on-Wye. I'm reaching out because of a recent law in Uganda which enforces death penalty for LGBTQ plus people. It's not just terrifying but completely unjust. It is infuriating to see love and identity criminalised to this extreme. Whilst more serious threats to society often get overlooked or trivialised, this law doesn't just harm people but sends a message that hate, death and violence are acceptable, and through our twinning it displays that our town in that injustice. I do believe that our community must stand firm against this, using our voices and actions to support human respect, dignity and compassion. I hope my perspective as a young queer person can help highlight why ending this twinning is not just necessary but a moral obligation. Thank you for listening. As another one, I'm concerned here that Ross-on-Wye is planning to continue town twinning with Namutumba in Uganda. Uganda's laws against the LGBTQ plus community should be a concern to us all. I ask that a twinning decision today is paused so that full consultation is made and consideration is given to the moral and ethical implications of the matter. We are complicit in anti-LGBTQ plus laws if we twin with a Ugandan town, or are we able to use that twinning to ascertain changes in law? Question mark. Thank you, so-and-so. Another one. Hello, Millie. I would like to express my concern regarding Ross being twinned with a town where homosexuality is legal and carries the death penalty. As a therapist locally, I've worked with many members of the LGBTQ community who have experienced hate crimes simply for existing. I'm very concerned about the message we as a community are sending if we give tact agreements this appalling law in Uganda. That's it. Thank you.
Anthony Labour, I couldn't agree more with all those emails, but the link that we have with Namutumba, we don't have with the Ugandan government. And if we drop the link, the people in Uganda are going to think we're abandoning them. We're not going to, we're going to try, but the message it sends to the people on the receiving end, I think is wrong. We want to have a poke at the Ugandan government. Don't forget, in Uganda, if you're a teacher, you will go and work where the government tells you. Okay, you don't get a choice whether you work in Ross or Hereford. You either resign or you go. Now let's go and poke the government, and I don't think they'd take notice and take it out on our teachers over there, but I don't want to take that risk. So I think it's absolutely wrong what they do, but I think chopping the link might be counterproductive, and we need to explain that to the people who have written those emails.
Thank you.
Can I? Is it okay for me to answer that?
Well, I think I'm going to move the twinning item forwards so we can discuss it with the public here.
Okay.
So I think if there's any more questions from the public, I think we'll do that, and then you can listen to our debate and then see the end decisions that we make.
One thing.
Well,
Are you staying here until we're debating the twinning?
yes,
I'll
I'll
stay.
If you like.
yes, I'll move that forward. We'll do that next. So we'll jump on the agenda. We'll go into number 19, which is twinning. It's to review the twinning group with Namutumba agreeing action required. This will be just for councillors, so members of the public. Thank you for your input. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so Lily, your hands up.
Yeah, so I think we're all very fixated on the LGBTQ plus and the homosexuality laws. So I just thought I would read out the updated human rights situation in Uganda 2024. Significant human rights issues included credible reports of arbitrary or unlawful killings, disappearances, torture, cruel, inhumane and degrading treatment or punishment, arbitrary arrests and detentions, transitional repression against individuals in other countries, unlawful recruitment and use of children in armed conflict by non-state armed groups, serious restrictions on freedoms of expression, media freedom, including violence and threats of violence against journalists, censorship, significant presence of any forms of the worst forms of child labour. The government did not take any credible steps or action to identify or punish officials who had committed human rights abuses. The rebel group Allied Democratic Forces continue to threaten attacks in urban areas while fighting government forces. The government arrested and prosecuted multiple individuals accused of belonging or supporting the group. I think the one question we've got to ask ourselves, would any of us in good conscience twin at this present moment with Russia? Would we twin with Iraq? Are we just going to sit here and allow things like this to go over our head? I am not against us supporting Namutumba. I would like to see us to return to a friendship agreement, the same as we're doing with Ukraine. I wholeheartedly still want us to retain support in them financially. At the end of the day, the town council is a government department. We are governed. We are sending a clear message that our government thinks the way their governments are behaving is fine. And I think we need to step up on our moral high ground. It doesn't mean that we take away, as I said to you, Anthony, every single year for Christmas I get either a goat, a pig, chickens, a Mandela garden. I've been doing it for years and years and years. I don't shout about it, I do it. I've been doing it for years. You can support people in numerous ways. I think we can send a clear message to the government. If every single town in the country untwinned with Ugandan towns, their government might understand that we cannot abide what they are doing. It's not just LGBTQ human rights, it's every human right they are breaching.
Thanks, yeah. Thanks for that. Thanks for the letters and thanks for what's a really interesting debate. I just want to add something to the conversation. Ross isn't the only UK town twinned with another town in Uganda.
Exactly.
As Councillor Boylan just raised there are others. And I do wonder if there's a conversation to be had with other towns around the country. Maybe Ross could take a lead on this, just to see what their position is. There's Pontypridd in Wales, they're twinned with Mbale, Guildford in Surrey with Mukono, and Chelmsford and Caldicott, which apparently is also twinned with another town. On one of the letters that Councillor Boylan read out actually did say, could we pause to consider our position? And rather than taking a unilateral position on this, I wonder whether it might be worth entering into dialogue or a conversation with other towns around the UK and seeing if there is a united position we can take that might actually make, I'm not imagining it's going to make, I think we would probably be stronger together than we would be on our own. So my request might be that we look at having that conversation before we make an immediate decision, but that we do open a dialogue and we continue to have a conversation around this.
Chris?
Well, thanks, Mr. Mayor. I've got to say I entirely agree with Jim Herbert and Mr. Elvis points. It's not a government-to-government link. We are not linked with the government. We don't support the government of Uganda. We don't support the death penalty for gay people. That is entirely irrelevant. Everybody around this table can agree with that. We are supporting...
No.
Can you... Councillor, I've listened in silence to you. Can you afford the same courtesy to me?
Councillor, you can't speak for every councillor around the table unless you...
I let you speak
If we could listen.
in silence. Could you afford the same courtesy to me, please?
Continue.
Thank you. Shall I repeat over again what I've said?
No, it's okay.
No. Right. So I just want to endorse entirely what we've heard from the members of the public. There's no support to break this link as far as I'm concerned. People don't come to the library surgeries, councillor surgeries, and say, please, don't link with this town anymore. It's not a government link.
We are supporting some of the poorest people in the world, And as has been said, if we cut the link off, they will feel abandoned. And what's it to do? It's to make what you are accusing other people of doing, which is making political points. Please, please don't do this. Keep the link going. Support some of the poorest people in the world. They're trying to improve their society. They're trying to improve their lives. They're trying to get an education for their children. We assume an education for all our children. These are some of the poorest people in the world who have to pay for education after primary school. And to cut them off, it's unconscionable to me. And we don't agree with the government. We're not linked with the Ugandan government. We are linked with Namutumba. We're linked people to people, person to person, individual to individual. Please don't cut the link. Thank you.
Excuse me, sorry, I've got a big problem with that.
No, wait.
I've just been told that I'm trying to political point score.
Well,
there is no politics involved in this.
Millie, I understand that you're not happy with that, but everybody has listened to you, and I would like
I understand that, but I
everybody else
didn't
to
accuse Councillor Bartram of something like that, did I?
I understand.
Right,
Okay.
so maybe you pick up Councillor Bartram
I'm
about his
going to
behaviour.
go to Bev and then down.
Right. I completely understand the horror at what's happening in Uganda and has been happening actually for many generations, because my uncle and aunt and my cousins got out with their lives, escaping the Idi Amin regime, so bad stuff happening. But the other side of this coin, even though we can all condemn these awful things that are happening, is that actually our support is even more important. And that's my simple message. I think that every penny that we can send to this community has more impact than anything else we do as a council, actually.
Yeah.
So I'm going to turn to you because I don't want to be with my back towards you. So I'm a gay man. I totally disagree on all this. These people that you're helping, you should carry on helping. And the message you're sending that we're going to break the relationship that we had for many years just because your government is coming out with these stupid laws. Maybe the government will go away in a few years. We're going to twin back again. No, we're going to carry on because that's the way you're giving hope to people. Well, what do they care about some law? They probably don't even know about this law. Why are you breaking up with us? Because some kind of a government idea that we're going to arrest the gay people. Like I said, I'm gay, and I grew up in a communist country, so I know exactly how it was. And when we had the English teachers coming, we had a ray of hope. This has nothing to do with politics. You just carry on doing what you're doing. That's it.
I'm going to go to Katie first. Yeah.
It's just a really quick one.
Just on really quick. The member of the public has asked that we just say who we are before we
Oh,
speak
sorry.
on this one.
I'm
that's
Katie
okay.
Fowler.
Okay, thank you.
All I'm saying is I do a lot of humanitarian aid work, as you all know around this table. Nobody is actually saying, and I don't think Millie is saying, you cut the ties completely.
No.
We cannot cut the ties completely because we've all let so many people down to do that. But there is a point where actually maybe we change it from a twinning and do the same with Ukraine, how we're doing with Ukraine, because we need to, it may not be political, we don't sit here being political, but we do need to try and protect everybody as well. And I think it will if, like Ed said about finding out other towns and that lot that are doing it, if we can get everybody, if everybody's doing the same, then we can make it a point, but if we do it on our own, there is no point to make, unfortunately.
Louis? Louis Starr.
We're a council representing Ross residents, and if there is a concern out there about something that the council does, then I think we have to listen to that. Before I came to this meeting, I was thinking about the issue around friendship as a way of maybe working my way through, but I've moved now, and I think there's an obligation on us, given the concerns that have been raised, for us to consult on this as a town council because we represent people of Ross. That's an important part of our function, and I do think that's the way we go forward. And I would like us to actually vote on a consultation on this, and I would propose that.
I'm going to go to Julian first, then we'll come back this way.
Julian, I think I don't support any motion to withdraw from the twinning agreement, because I think it means such a lot to these people. And don't forget our own history there, when we were during the colonisations, etc. We raped and pillaged these countries as well. And also supported the slave trade. I know we were a supporter of abusing it, abolishing it as well. But we, to my mind, we have a reconciliation duty to actually support the individual people, particularly these communities there. They are the poorest of the poor. I do think if we are to consult, it should be a meaningful consultation of all the residents of Ross, and not just the 70 odd who replied to the budget, because you just get past this. But also, our government hasn't withdrawn its embassy with Uganda either. It is still talking, and it's by these links we talk, we educate, just like the Scandinavian countries kept talking to us while we had similar laws. So I understand, and I don't support Uganda or any of its human rights abuses at all. Dead against that, but the only way to is change attitudes is through free trade and talking. That's the only things that have ever happened. Make changes.
Thank you. John? Valerie?
Yes, I don't always agree with some of the people at the other end of the table, but on this occasion I do. But I actually am a Lion, and we have supported the Namutumba school for a long time, and I don't know how many around the table have actually met anyone from the school, but I have. They came to our Lions meeting and we spoke to them, and they are so grateful. We've helped them with planting orange trees, we've bought them pig farm equipment and pigs, and it is making a difference to the school and that village, and I strongly support continuing to support them, absolutely.
I'm going to go to John first.
Okay, I'm Councillor John Winder. I'll be very brief. First off, I do want to state that, like all of us around the table, I find the actions and policies of the Ugandan government absolutely abhorrent in this instance. The only point I would like to make is I do wonder how many of the LGBTQ community who come over here on exchange visits, for how many of those people is this the only opportunity to talk with openly gay people to discuss this stuff? How much support do kids get from that? And in short, who realistically is going to benefit from us taking our bat home in this? I can't see withdrawing from this twinning arrangement is going to help anything, is going to make anything better in terms of the Ugandan government's policy to the LGBTQ plus community. So I'll be supporting the remaining member.
Okay, yeah, Richard.
Thanks, Chair. Richard McAvoy. In one of my previous existences, I was a diplomat in Saudi Arabia for 5 years, and the probably human rights issues in both countries are probably very similar. And the only way we make a difference is with engagement. So I agree with Councillor O'Driscoll's proposal to have a consultation, but not just consult the towns in this country that are engaged in Uganda, but maybe the High Commission Kampala as well, to see what advice they could give.
Daniel Lister. I don't think this is necessarily something that we can just pan out and vote on this evening. It's quite a complex and important matter. I also agree with Councillor Driscoll. I think that's one of the most sensible steps to take at this time. I believe, although annoyingly I haven't fully prepped, but I believe there is some towns actually that have untwinned with Uganda in the UK, but I couldn't find it just now. I can't find my notes. So I definitely think that needs looking at. But I want to emphasise that I don't believe the people that I've spoken to that are in favour of untwinning with or any of us would say so, that we're going to cut any ties if that was the route we were taking, because there was still really wholehearted importance in supporting Uganda and the town. I too have met some teachers and supported the water intake in going in, rubbish trucks being brought, and I've spoken to them about the difference that's made. There's no way in this world that I would want to stop that support, but I most certainly, like everyone else said, do not support the government. And I don't know if we still need to be twinned with them in that, because it's important for residents, as Councillor Stark says. So we definitely need to go down that route and find more information.
Saskia Harrison, echoing a lot of people, as I totally agree. I think it's a really good idea to consult with other town councils about what their views are, how we can move forward. Also finding out the town councils that have untwinned, speaking about reasons of why, what they did and what they put provisioning in place or for a further long-term plan as well. Again, I am agreeing with everyone. I do not want to take any sort of facility or support away from a community, from our community. At the end of the day, it isn't the government we are dealing with. It is what they are doing is absolutely apparent, as Councillor Winder said as well. But we can't just look at it with well, I'm going to say twins because of government, it's a government thing. No, I think we need to look at something we can replace it with. So we can have, like I said, a community supporting another community, but not having a full-on twinning. And that is just my view at the moment. I would happily sit down and have consultation going forward regarding this. It's definitely not something that we, especially when we have so many different views on this at the moment, that we're going to be able to come to an arrangement and a vote, and a proper vote for the future of them as well as our town in this meeting tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Sophie, this conversation is fantastic, and I agree with nearly everything that's been said, right? But if any of us think that what we do in severing a link in any way will make any difference to the government in Uganda, you just don't understand Africa. You really, really don't. It will make no difference whatsoever. Whereas staying engaged with the people of Namutumba can make a difference to some of those lives. And that's what's the important thing. We should do what we can do. Okay? That's my strong position.
Yeah.
So the twinning is the only legal stuff that can be in place for these African people to get visas to come here. You can't have more which will have a friendly thing and carry on. And the consultation is to find out that we should untwin. Well, I'm against it. So if anybody around this room wants to carry on with this twinning, I would propose to carry on with this twinning.
So I second that.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got a proposal and a second.
Can I just say one
quickly
thing?
Before we go?
At the end of the day, we're voted in by people in Ross-on-Wye. Between me letting one person know at 6:15 what was on the agenda, those were the amount. Both of my phones are on airplane mode now. We also are voted in from within the LGBTQ community in Ross, and they are our community that have voted us in. So it's not just about how much difference it makes to the government. How will it affect the people that live within this town that are LGBTQ+, if we don't untwin?
Okay, so we've got a proposal from From down.
What was the
We confirm
proposal? What was the proposal?
It was
Carry on.
Can
Can
I
I
have
have,
what the member of public wants to say?
can I have one more speaker?
we'd have to suspend standing orders, which
Second that.
proposed and seconded. Can we have a vote on that? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're welcome to speak.
Thank you. If we go for breaking and twinning, and we're really successful, and it really gets noted, we'll feel really good, won't we?
No.
What about the people in Uganda, in Namutumba, who will get it from the government? Are you going to guarantee, you drop the twinning, are you going to guarantee to me that they're not going to get funding cut, that they're still going to get visas to come over here? Are we prepared to risk that? I so support the people who've written those emails, but please, they need to understand that the damage it might do. I can't guarantee it, but it just might.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so Dan's proposal is that we remain twinned with Namutumba, so essentially no change.
Nothing changed.
No.
I'll second that.
I think Chris
Chris seconded.
seconded that with that. Okay, so all in favour of that?
10, 11, 12.
Okay, and all against?
3.
Okay, any abstentions?
3 abstentions.
Okay.
4 abstentions.
Okay, so that's carried in. The link with Namutumba will remain. Okay.
Chair, that adds up to 19.
So cool.
Honestly, some people just.
Who
It does. That's why I thought it was 3 abstentions.
Sorry, can I not propose for a consultation?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's why these people have abstained.
Yeah. But that can still happen, can't it?
Well,
Yeah,
that's
we're
what we're
welcome
going
to bring it back in the future.
Councillor Edo Driscoll asked if we do a consultation. It was then jumped on when Councillor Kyoto.
The vote's been done.
It's been done. Okay, so
Bring a motion in the future.
the next item is to exclude members of the press.
Yeah, we should.
Thank you.
We are happy to propose exclude the members of the public because we do have a confidential item. Julie, secondly. So all those in favour?
Yes, it's the confidential items.
I lost my way, sorry.
Yeah.
Were there any against that? Okay, so for council meeting minutes, is anyone happy to propose this? John, second in the minutes? Sarah? Yep, and all those in favour?
Unanimous.
Yes, we're reinstating standing orders here. Thank you. Okay, so committees, the first one we've got is to consider nominations for appointments to subcommittees. Richard?
I'd like to join the amenities, CMT, planning development and personnel, please.
Okay. You need something else to do in life. Okay.
That was CMT, amenities and planning and development, was it?
Pretty much all but finance and property.
And personally,
Which I'm aware of.
Really?
I'd like to join personnel and planning, please.
If you're joining, do you want to come off as the personnel appeals panel then?
Yes, please.
Okay, so we'll need another one for the personnel appeals panel.
Happy to go on
Okay. What was the other one, personnel
And planning. I'm on the F&P now, aren't I?
Yes, you are.
Can you not just come off planning?
Yeah.
Oh, and now you're back on, okay. Well, welcome back.
I've had a few people ask me about planning.
Katie?
Can I jump on the panel, please? I can't jump on the personnel level, you'll have to take me off.
Yeah. We'll just wait for Colin to write them down. That's all.
Yeah.
We've got our full committees.
But I can't always guarantee to be there, but I'm happy to join.
Okay.
Which one was that?
Planning and
Planning and finance and property.
I think there's one or two committees I'm not on, so the serious point is amenities is now pretty much all of us, so, you know, I can't guarantee that the meetings will finish as swiftly as I often like them to anymore, but there we are, you know.
We're hoping that if we all get enough, because obviously it's been brought up with the mayor stuff, that it should be on every committee. So I think that's the way forward. If we're on every committee, at least we know what's happening.
Dan, you want personnel F&P?
I would like to join finance and property, please.
You enjoyed it that much.
It was actually brilliant. It was one of the most interesting committees I've actually sat on.
Yeah.
I have. I chaired planning for 2 terms.
Anybody else? No?
So part of the reason this was on here was, do you want to stay on planning?
Yeah, I'm
Stay on planning. Do you want to still go on planning?
Please, that's
I
what
know, I told you. Yeah, no, because there hasn't been a meeting since you expressed that, so.
Well, I was only making up numbers.
Yeah, so.
Turns out that's unnecessary.
It's unnecessary.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Anybody else? No? Okay, well, I'm happy to propose those changes.
Yeah.
Anybody?
Second,
John
yeah.
to second, and all in favour?
Unanimous?
Okay, so we've got receive and make minutes of the following meetings, approve any recommendations. There are 3 lots of minutes to approve with no recommendations. The first recommendation is expenditure up to £2,600 from the property portfolio earmarked reserve. And this is for a facade inspection which they Judy?
I was going to say this, that I was wondering the minutes could be corrected, make it clear which building is incurring this expenditure.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, I'm glad that wasn't just me being sick.
Yeah, I think.
It is for Corn Exchange.
Yeah, in the rest of the minute, I think, but no, I'll clarify that.
Thank you.
So, are you happy to propose that, Julian?
I'm happy to propose.
Yes, okay, yes. Do you have a seconder? Louis?
Yeah, that's fine.
All in favour of that? And the second recommendation from the Finance and Property Committee was an inspection for the town hall in the gable end, which is to spend up to £3,000 from the property portfolio earmarked reserve. Did you want to say anything about that, Julian?
This is the preliminary inspection for that to undertake the work that we put in the next year's budget from the portfolio property portfolio reserve. So it's just starting the works.
I'll propose, yeah. Seconded. Sarah? Yep. And then all in favour?
Unanimous.
Thank you. And then the last one is the minutes from CMT as well. No recommendations. So, working groups to receive an update on the skate park design concept and agree comments for response to overdue council. Ed, you happy to lead on that? Can you?
I am, yeah. Do you want to bump up the design so people can see it? Great, thank you, Clark. If we can just get it central, view it full screen maybe. The arrow top right, do that. Yeah. That's perfect, thank you. We had a very, those of you that came along, thank you for coming along to the meeting with ASA week before last, where they talked through this in depth and they talked through the presentation. For those of you that can't see, can I stand where I can see it? You'll be able to see there's different elements on here. We've got the Muga, which is the green box, sort of bottom right. You've got a pump track to the left of that, which is the almost figure of 8 to the left. You've got an urban area for skate parking, which is at the bottom left. And then above that, you've got the skate park, the other side of those two trees, which is the new skate park itself. And then on the far end, you've got those orange signs with the little arrows. That's a learn to ride area and a mini pump track for younger residents, so for people to learn how to bike. There's different surface areas within here. Obviously, all of the white area of the skate park is concrete. The red areas is a porous surface that allows breathing and is been designed for areas that are subject to flooding, as is the green area for the Muga multi-use games area. This is an initial concept that the ASA have come up with after initial public consultation, but we've already had lots of comments that are ongoing over the last couple of weeks, and we're looking at other ideas that we're feeding back to ASA on how this can potentially be improved. Some of the comments that we've asked ASA to look at include making the pump track slightly bigger. That's one of the big things that's come out. A lot of young people and skaters think that we could do more with the pump track. Retaining the half pipes and spine from the current skate park in some capacity, because it's widely regarded as a really great feature of the current skate park, which generations of skaters have enjoyed. So that's something we've asked them to consider. We've been also looking at how we can use this space possibly more effectively. One of the concerns around the Muga is, if you imagine, the red line on the right hand side is the bank that comes down the hill. It's full of trees, if you know the area. So you do get a lot of leaf litter coming from down there. And where that Muga is could well be subject to quite a lot of leaf litter. And obviously, if you know anything about playing sport on those kind of surfaces, what you don't want is loads of leaves and mucking up the court all the time. So one of the things we might look at doing is potentially moving that. We've suggested if they can look at it, moving that to where we've got or closer to where we've got the bike area at the present time. And then that will give us some space to make the pump track bigger, possibly in that area, which is something that everyone's keen to do. And that will give us maybe a slightly smaller area for the learn to ride section, but in an area that might be more suitable to it. So we don't claim to be, I certainly don't claim to be experts, that's what ASA are here for and but that's the kind of stuff we've been feeding back. That's come through the Wilton Park website from Mark Russell, who's been fantastic with public engagement, and from lots of comments we've had from residents who contacted us directly, and from our conversations on site, those of you that came to the on-site discussions last week, which were really, really useful. It's an exciting project. There's one other thing I will mention before today. I went and did some times with the Safer Neighbourhoods team last Friday, and they have a designing out crime officer who looks at these kind of projects and looks at how you can design out the potential for criminality and best place to put CCTV. If you're going to have an enclosed area, that they can become a magnet sometimes. Apparently Ledbury did have some problems at their skate park and Muga with an enclosed area and lessons that can be learned. So I forwarded the designs and contact details to the designing our crime officer as well, and they'll be putting in some feedback to the design team so that hopefully we get the Safer Neighbourhoods team's perspective on best use of the space. Happy to take any questions.
I really like the look of this. I don't pretend, in fact, to know a right lot about skate parks, but I do like what this looks like. The only comment I have, and it's more for, response to Herefordshire Council and the design consultants. This is the Herefordshire Council end. As I mentioned at one of the meetings, I'm very keen to see safe cycle access to the site. If that can be something that could be incorporated, but otherwise I think
Can I come back on that, because we did discuss this when we met up on site, and one of the ideas we were looking at, toilets is an issue, and there isn't it might not necessarily be where we have toilets straight away on site, but it's an ambition. We have got the toilets the other end of the bandstand, and what we are looking at doing is seeing if the path that goes under the road that goes to the bandstand, if that could be made accessible, but not just accessible, if it could also be a cycle path.
Perfect. Thank you.
So that's one of the design aspects we've asked them to look at, so that could go up to around the edge of the bandstand, up to the toilets. So it would be a combined cycle path and disabled access point. But we need to figure that out, and obviously it's all going to come down to cost.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a brilliant idea about utilising that, absolutely, because actually for young people to go under as well, it makes it a lot easier for parents to get their kids there. Are there any sheltered areas?
Yes, there are. The sheltered area is the orange area here, there, which is a sheltered area. Those of you that know this area, here, which is just slightly off the red mark, is the raised grassy area, which you've got the best possible view. And what we're talking about putting is benches up there where parents can sit and things like that. But also, because that's like the grassy knoll, for want of a better description, having the CCTV there.
Thank you.
And I've squarely put the problem of funding back at Herefordshire door. It's their land. This is a major transformation of a site that will really be very useful for a cohort that is often neglected in terms of capital spend at county, which is the 12 to 19-year-olds. And we're engaged with them at the moment. I can't necessarily say that we won't get any money out of them, but they now know that we are looking for funding for this, and we're looking for Herefordshire to come
working
forward.
hard, aren't we, Louis?
Yes, come forward with the so much. Watch this space. That can't be guaranteed.
Okay, so we need to just confirm that we're happy with those comments and changes that we suggested to go to Herefordshire. Fully vote on that.
Certainly willing to propose them.
Yeah. Okay, do you need to propose?
No, second.
Yeah, down to second. All those in favour?
Unanimous?
Thank you. Okay, so the next item from the working groups is to approve a recommendation from the Ukraine Twinning Working Group. Formal twinning for Obrich in Ukraine be postponed to a non-consolidated regarding legislative time to a no, and to amend the originally approved twinning agreement to be the twinning friendship agreement.
I think you've heard enough of me. I'm quite happy. Do you want to explain? You sure? We've done a lot of research into this. There have been some discussions around the legislation that came out in Ukraine last year, which has tried to formalise all of the twinning agreements between UK, or all European actually, towns and Ukrainian towns, because there's been a lot of twinning going on, and they're trying to make more formal documents. The language of the documents has caused some concern, it caused us concern, and quite rightly. We're not the only towns to have been concerned. And this has got back to the Ukrainian government, and it is my understanding they will be making changes to this legislation and to the language that they expect these twinning agreements to use. We have also, thanks to the clerk, taken some legal advice, and the legal advice that we received was that actually we shouldn't be too concerned about the language, it is okay. However, as an interim measure, what we've proposed is that we use the original agreement that we had for our twinning agreement, but we rebrand it a friendship agreement, which doesn't come under the Ukrainian legislation at the present time, with an understanding that we will then progress to a twinning agreement at some point when there's clarity around the new Ukrainian legislation. I think everybody on the working group was quite happy with that proposal. It's an interim position. We have approached Overwatch. They're very happy with this position as well, and we're now waiting for a date from the Mayor of Overwatch for when we could sign this, what is in effect the twinning agreement we had before and had agreed until this legislation reared its head, but under the branding of a friendship agreement, which we see as a halfway house to a full twinning. That, our recommendation to the working group is that we move forward with the friendship agreement.
Lynn?
Yeah, kind of what I was saying about Namutumba.
So we have a proposal?
I'm happy to propose that on behalf of the working group.
I'll second it.
Okay, yeah, Katie to second. This is for us to sign the friendship agreement with Overwatch. Yep. Okay, all those in favour? Okay, so sticking with working groups, do we have updates from the play strategy? I think we skipped the skate park because we've had a
really?
Well, did someone say skate over it? Council window on the name of
no, nothing to report, no.
Councillor Freer changing places?
Well, we're in the process of getting quotes for our specifications, but it is proving to be complex and more time consuming. So watch this space, I think. I'd actually I will add that we almost certainly won't be in time to get the funding within this financial year. So we'll be looking at seeking new funding.
Should we skate over the Ukraine twinning one further? The UK Town Council.
Yeah, we've had a first meeting of the working group, which was the councillors, just to agree the terms of reference, which have now been agreed, and we have let the DCMS know, the UK government know that it is our intention to apply.
Yeah.
So we'll be arranging another meeting with the working group imminently.
Ross Carnival?
We met at a meeting of the Ross-on-Wye working group last week, which was well attended. Thank you for everybody that came along. We agreed terms of reference to the Ross Carnival as well, which is fantastic. I convened that first meeting. I will be standing down as convener. The plan is to have a carnival this year, ideally the first Saturday in August. We're approaching potential suppliers for the fair down by the river, and the idea at this stage, the working idea, is that we would, rather than start small and build, because we're coming back from, we're having to rebuild this from where it was before, and this is a job for the town council, whereas there was quite a large committee involved before working with external partners. But to have a carnival that is not large vehicles, but that is smaller vehicles, maybe bikes, maybe trolleys, maybe mobility scooters, a sort of eco-carnival, for want of a better description, and to offer small grants to community groups by the town council. The idea, if you remember when we had all of the street parties, back when we had the Diamond Jubilee, we offered grants up to £100 per street party. We had 17 street parties. It was really well taken up. and it was a simple application form, and all we had to do on the day was they had to send us a picture of the street party taking place. It was that simple. So the idea would be again to have a very simple form, community groups just to write in saying what they're intending to do and how they would be, or who they are, and what their ideas are for their particular vehicle, their mode of transport, and then turn up on the day and take a picture, share it on socials or with us, and then claim a small grant afterwards. The amount of the grant to be determined, but I would have thought no more than £50 to £100 per entrant. But this would be to kick-start the whole idea, and maybe have a steel band at the front as it marches down through town down to by the riverside. But I think Katie's agreed to take over as convener for the next meeting, which is great. So I think, is there anything you want to add?
No, I'll just we'll sort out a date by the end of the week for the next one.
Okay, good. Yep. Okay, Mayor's announcements. The 20th of January I went to the Mayor's meeting at Plough Lane with the Chair of Hertfordshire Council, and he talked to us about their budget plans for next year and how little money there was available. On the 27th of January I visited Ashfield Park Primary School to deliver an assembly on the role of the Mayor to talk about some charity work. On the 28th of January I went to St Joseph's School. You may have seen me hula hooping on Facebook, but I appear to have a pain in my hip now following that, so maybe no more. That was for the Community Non-Uniform Day that we'd organised, just to raise money for the Mayor's charity. And this weekend coming up is pancake races, so if everybody wants to join in with a pancake race, maybe we could have a councillors race. Are there enough of us there? No, maybe not.
Emergency services available.
Yeah, with oxygen, I suppose. There are no first responders there, probably.
Yes, we have the response there.
Okay, town clerk's report.
Okay, just a few bits. I think the police have covered a lot of the items I was going to update on. One thing to add, there has been another incident since the road walk incident that he mentioned, where human excrement has been spread on the play equipment, which has been reported to police. So we're just reporting every incident so that, because obviously we want it to be widely known that there is CCTV down there, and that action is taken after that has been viewed. Circulated the PCC newsletter, the West Mercia PCC newsletter. Also to save the date for the next parish summit at Plough Lane is the 3rd of March, so that's been circulated. No time has been given yet, but the date that has been set. I've circulated today a consultation about accessing police stations. So Ross is one of the ones on the list about filling in the survey about access to police stations, so I think that's worth completing for anyone who can do. Welsh Water have provided an update on the work they were doing at Holmes Road that was taking place last week. Because of the high network flows, they were unable to continue with the planned work, so they'll be keeping an eye on the network flows and going back to finish the work before further work can take place in several weeks' time. Then the final thing, a request from St Mary's PCC. At the PCC meeting, the discussion took place about the Spire project and the essential work to the Pinnacles. A steering group has been formed, including people from both the community and the church, to look at the project, in particular researching and applying for grants. We would be very pleased if one of the councillors was able to join this group. The experience the council has in having acquired substantial grants for the renovation of the market house would be very useful. Any volunteers? Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Okay, so moving on to finance is to... Sorry, Julie.
Did you get the letters of apologies for the fundraising?
Yes.
Okay, so income and expenditure for this year. to review the budget information for the year to date. Any questions on that? Yeah.
I've just got one question. I was looking at the expenditure and I thought we've underspent on the citizens' advice because we increased that to include one visit a month at the hub. We paid them just under 3,000 in September. Are we likely to pay any more?
No, so that was because it wasn't started at the beginning of the year. I asked them to invoice to take us to financial year end to save it being split. So that's the amount that from when it started to 31st of March.
Yeah, thank
you. Finance accounts for payment to receive and approve the schedule of payments. And do we need to
you vote on
the proposal for that, Katie? Second? Yeah, Millie? Yeah. All those in favour?
Yeah.
And to receive no details of payments made since the last meeting. Okay, so next one is next year's budget, and that's to approve the recommendation from the FNP subcommittee for the adoption of the budget, with a budget of 810,762. Julian?
I'd like to thank the clerk for making those changes, last minute changes to the budget. I do feel that that we sort of ambushed the clerk at the last F&P meeting on with a number of changes. But we've spent since September trying to come up with a budget. Particularly on the expenditure I'm really talking about here. And I feel that we as a group of town councillors didn't do a good enough job through the various committees to actually have the right information of the various projects and also the costings associated with them. So I'd like to thank the clerk for actually doing that and to remind us that we all need to do much better at the next budget round, which will start in September. Also, I realised, and I was part of one of them, part of the F&P meeting, was suggesting a 10% increase. Now, having seen the revised budget, we only need an 8% increase to make a balanced budget, and I don't see why we should be asking the residents to actually pay more than just achieve a balanced budget on these projects. Because we put the expenditure in, we only need 8%, and I personally propose that we only have an 8% increase.
Finance and property agreed 10%. We've already had that discussion, and it was agreed 10%. So I don't think in any other realm would we walk away from F&P's recommendation. It was carried, it was a vote, it was carried, and we agreed 10%.
Done.
Proposing 8%.
I've proposed
It's completely pointless having
Okay, well, I would like everyone. I'm not happy to increase just for putting money in the bank.
Sarah was first, yeah.
At the F&P meeting, the way it seemed to progress, I felt it was either a choice between 5% and 10%. We actually, at that meeting, we hadn't actually allocated the extra funds we would get for the difference between, allocated some of the difference between 5 and 10%, but not all of it. If they, by working through the accounts sensibly, we're not looking to build up the reserves, we're just looking to be able to do the things we want to do and to take up some of the slack that Hereford County Council can't do. So if we can do that within the 8%, then I think 8% is enough.
Katie?
At CMT last week, we discussed that we needed the eyelets changed on all the buildings for our Christmas lights, which could cost us up to £10,000. Has that been allocated on the budget or not?
Yes.
It has.
Yeah. But the other projects in my updated budget report, the other potential projects haven't.
So there is the money there that
So
we
the eye bolts have, and certain other bits that I detailed in the report have been included, but the potential projects that are listed in the report haven't had any budget allocated.
Thank you.
Dan?
I take on board Councillor Utton's comments about potentially ambushing the clerk at the last meeting. And given I'm not normally on finance and policy, I was probably part of that. So I apologise if that was the feeling in the room. However, we don't always get the opportunity to look at it in such detail. And I was quite interested, hence why I've joined F&P. So hopefully that will eradicate me ambushing anybody in the future. So I apologise, Clerk. I don't believe that 10% is enough, but I'm not going to suggest here we go higher. We say that we offer a good value package, but is good value of any use to our residents who want to see more done in the town? Probably not. I use the changing spaces as an example. Well, I know if we should be depending on grant funding for such a scheme that would make a massive change to people's lives and the visit intake to our town. We should just be doing stuff like that, and we could be doing stuff like that if, in the past, we put the precept up as suggested by past clerks. We're in a situation now where Councillor Stark keeps reminding us we don't know what's coming from Hereford Council. They're now talking £80 million worth of savings, potentially more, and they're offloading their packages onto different councils and asking councils to take on different stuff. We don't know what's coming. The play parks being one. If we don't take on them play parks, which has been suggested perhaps we don't because we haven't budgeted for them, what will happen to them play parks? Will they be sold off privately? Will houses be built on them? Will we lose that wonderful asset for our children that they need to socialise, to play, to grow, to inspire each other? What will happen? We should be taking stuff like that on, and by allowing ourselves to take stuff like that on, we need to increase the precept. It's not about just levelling it out so we look good because we're giving a good value package to people. It's about putting the precept up so we can do more in the town. Town cleansing, we're doing that. That's Herefordshire Council's job. The roads are completely falling apart. We're probably going to have to pick some of that up as it comes into the future. All the open spaces, they're going to cost more as we go forward. We can't just keep dipping into reserves because someone's recommended that we have X amount because we will have no money left. I just despair. I think it needs to stay at 10% at this time.
Yeah.
We had a discussion about the corn exchange in the F&P meeting. I don't know how many people know, but we were told in 2015, I believe, that we needed work done to the corn exchange. We couldn't afford to have it done, so we had to afford to have yet another survey done in 2022. We still couldn't afford to have the work done, so now we're looking at having yet another survey done. Talk about a house of cards. Apologies, absolutely, because I know it was a bump meeting, and absolute apologies for that. It was agreed that we don't just want our residents to make do. We want their lives to be enhanced. If you want the residents' lives to be enhanced, then you will go for 10%. I don't know why we're quibbling about 2%. It is needed. We're just scraping by, doing the things that we have to do. Why should our residents just put up with scraping by? Never mind that, but Worcester, it's been announced today, are basically bankrupt. We are now falling under Hereford and Worcester, and we are going to get less and less and less. Yeah, they've announced it today that they're basically bankrupt. So with that, you know, we're joining up with Hereford and Worcester now, with the councils. We are going to get less and less and less grants. Yes, the council have been successful in getting grant funding. That money doesn't come from nowhere. The government is pulling back on rural communities. We know that. We have to stand up for a community.
There's always a difficulty when you present a new percentage at the meeting when we've already agreed a percentage for F&P, and I'll explain why I'm going to stick with the 10%. May I listen to debates with the Jews here, and we didn't always agree with your analysis, we came up with different analysis, but let me just explain something. At full council on Friday, I'll be raising the issue with Herefordshire about their reserves. Their reserves are going to go down to 41 million or something. The budget resilience reserves will run out in 27. And I'm going to be asking the question, how do you fund the cost and demand pressures in adult social care if you keep running down your reserves? Now, if it had been 8% at F&P, and if we had discussed 8% at F&P, and if we'd agreed 8% at F&P on the debate we had, then fine, but we agreed 10%. And there's nothing that I've heard from the Herefordshire point of view and the financial context at county level that would make me change my mind. We agreed 10% at F&P, and I'll be sticking with that tonight.
Could I just add for context, this isn't confirmed yet, but conversations that I've had, it looks like Leicester are likely to be doing a 6.7%. Hereford City have confirmed that they're doing just under 16%. Ledbury are doing 10%, Bromyard are doing 10%, and I'm not sure about Kington, but they're the ones that I am aware of.
John?
Okay, right. I'm not sure quite how to put this. I've listened with an open mind, and quite frankly, I am inclined to agree. There seems little point in discussing things at a subcommittee level if we are then going to put a different proposal. It's also worth pointing out that the clerk has now prepared 2 budgets, and we're in the process of springing a 3rd on her. And finally, that the difference between 8 and 10% is something like £2 a year. It's not something that, to my mind, we need to fall out over one way or another. I thought I was okay with 8% when Julian spoke, and then having heard others speak, I'm not so sure now. So I'm still retaining an open mind at the moment, still thinking about it.
Thanks. Yeah. Unfortunately, I had to leave before the vote from F&P, but I made my feelings clear before I left. I think people knew that I was, at that stage, not in favour of 10%. But I have listened to all the arguments since then. I just think it's very difficult to justify increasing the budget without costed proposals for what we will do with it. If you're going to put forward how you're going to spend money at Herefordshire County level, it has to have a business case. And we're all saying, yes, it's going, we think we might have to pick this up, we think we might have to pick that up, but we don't actually know yet at this stage. We don't know what we're going to have to pick up. And we have, sitting in the bank, £600,000 that isn't doing anything at the present time other than earning interest. And the interest alone is more than the 2% you're talking about. And I, for one, would support any proposal that came to this committee or one of the other committees that said, this is something we really should be doing, this is where Hereford's dropped the ball, we need to spend this amount of money this year in order to do it, and let's raise the precept next year in order to be able to continue doing it, with a properly costed business plan for why we should do it and how much it's going to cost. Look, we haven't got that. We owe it to the residents to just present a balanced budget. Julian's now got a balanced budget at 8%. We've got money in the bank. If we're going to, why should we take money off residents that we're not going to spend if we haven't got a business plan on how we're going to spend it?
Improve their lifestyle.
Well, you haven't told us how you're going to do it.
Because we haven't had public consultation.
Oh, you don't want to hear it.
No, you haven't. There's no business plan, Danny.
One at a time, please. One at a time.
Definitely voted.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to bring back to a point that Councillor Stark made right at the beginning of this meeting, was that we're here at the behest of our residents.
Absolutely.
And we pushed out this survey. We had 12,000 hits. only 2 people said they weren't happy with 10%, 57 said they were. So the residents have spoken to us, so.
We have to be careful with how we gather people's money, because even 2%, we can talk about 2%, 1%. If it's a balanced budget and you haven't got plans for it, you're just going to put it in the bank. And it's not 8 or 10%, because Herefordshire Council is going to put their increase on top of this 8 or 10%. How is it going to be 15%? So,
June?
I would like to point out we have been saving every single year for to improve our property portfolio fund. It is currently at just over £250,000. It's probably going to be about £230,000 by the end of this year. That is sufficient to actually do something with the Green Exchange. I'd like to further inform the council that we do not have the staff to do all of these projects, which are currently unfunded. So we need an increase in staffing in order to do it. These projects, if they actually started now, we probably won't actually be spending the money until the following financial year. By the time we get all the approvals, etc., the legal stuff done, including the changing rooms, I doubt that will be actually delivered until 27, 28. I can go on. Even the play parks, if we had to take on the play parks, by the time the asset transfer is done, most of next financial year would have come and gone, and we would have to increase the grounds maintenance contract for the mowing and what have you, and we just don't know. Well, I've been asking, I don't know, since I first started on this council in 2017, that we needed properly funded projects. Hardly any projects can be properly funded. We do it by a wing and a prayer. I'm just asking that we set a balanced budget. We didn't know the exact figure of budget expenditure until after the meeting. And 8% is suggested that it covers it. So that's why I think 8% is there. We have more than enough in the bank.
Yeah, I did bring these pictures in last time. So these are pictures of what Ross used to look like when residents enjoyed it. This is when verges were cut. I mean, it took us over 2 years arguing about getting a prospect cut, right? We should be able to do these things. This is what Ross was like when money was being put into Ross, right? At the moment, Ross doesn't look like that. It's an absolute eyesore. We don't have things like that anymore. It is embarrassing and shameful. We are scraping by. We're using biodiversity as an excuse not to do proper work that residents want. We are here for residents. We're not here for us. We are here for what residents want. And this is what residents want. They want well-maintained, looked after, open spaces. They want well-maintained, looked after play parks. They want the council to do more. And at the end of the day, if we have money in the bank, brilliant, we put it out for public consultation. What the public would like that money to be spent on, that will sweeten the pill of them paying 10%, because at the moment you're making arbitrary decisions without any consultation from the public. John, would you have anything?
No, to be honest, no.
In the consultation budget report, it does say in there that people want to keep our town and river tidy because it brings more people into the town, so that's where some of the money will go. I asked earlier, it's going to cost roughly about £10,000 to do the islets in town for the Christmas lights. It's in the budget, but other things aren't, so where's that money coming from? Where is the money coming from?
I just go back to play parks. We can't business plan for everything. We might not know what's coming, but that doesn't mean we can't be prepared for it. And if the play parks do come, we shouldn't be in a position where we go, we can't take it because we haven't budgeted for it. We can't do that. We can't always be prepared for everything.
Chris?
Yeah, there was some doubt cast earlier on in this debate, Mr. Chairman, and we were told, well, Finance and Property made a decision, we're kind of bound by that. We are not. It says on the agenda, to approve the recommendation. Full council is allowed to take on board a recommendation from the subcommittee, and they then say, thank you very much, but we want to tweak it, we want to reject it, or we want to vote for it. So, can I just put that one to bed? Secondly, I'd just like to make the point that we all can play these games, and some of us do, and sometimes I do. We cherry pick what we want to add to our argument. We've heard the point mentioned tonight. We put out a consultation, 12,000 people answered it. How many people in that 12,000 lived in the town?
118.
We didn't say 12,000.
Thank you.
12,018. That was one.
It's 12,000.
It was 11,000, was it 12,000? So it was 118.
No.
Thank you.
Whichever half of the
so I'll add my personal sort of completely unobjective evidence as well. I have been asking people ever since that recommendation came out from Finance and Property Subcommittee. I've been asking my residents who elected me, unlike some people in this room who were elected unopposed. So I've been asking my residents and other residents, what do you want me to vote for? 5%? 10%? 8%? They say, of course we don't want to pay any more. It's a cost of living crisis. What do you want about? Why can't? Well, I'm sorry, Councillor Lister, that's what people have been saying to me. It's no good muttering under your breath.
I didn't. I said I don't believe you.
You're
not much.
You're rubbishing.
I'm not rubbishing.
You're rubbishing residents who've been speaking to me. What a cheat! What a cheat!
You got no proof.
Well, you've got my evidence. I'm giving you evidence.
This is your budget consultation.
So
this is it.
Let's
This
try
is what I begged
and
for.
let's try and
This
keep
is
it
yours.
civilised if we can.
I'd just like to keep it simple, and that is, it's a very heavy duty we are under here. We have the duty, or we have the responsibility, of taxing people. They don't have any appeal against it. They have to pay it, whether they can afford it or not. I know we're talking about small amounts, but as Julian has said, I believe an 8% is reasonable. And people, I don't think, will be able to understand it if we go to them and say, yes, the town council voted for 10%, almost 3 times the rate of inflation, when we have, as Councillor O'Driscoll said, £600,000 in the bank. So I would like to vote, please, for the 8% that's been suggested by Julian. Thank you.
We'll go to Dan and then Billy. No.
I can't confront somebody and say, well, I voted for getting more of your money to put it in the bank. Until there's money in the bank, I'm voting for a balanced budget, and that's it.
I'd like to make 2 very brief points. At the meeting that we were discussing it, Councillor Bartram, all you wanted to do was get home and have your supper because we kicked it around in the grass long enough. Whereas actually some people were willing to discuss it further because we thought it was an important thing. I would like to say during the councillors' training that we had, I asked the question to the person that was training us, why on earth would a council want to keep the amount of council tax at the same amount when we can't afford to do stuff that the public are asking us to do? And she said, there's only one explanation, they don't want to be voted out. I'll leave it there.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, can I raise a point of order? Of course, yeah. Councillor Boylan has named me, and I would just like to add my comment that that meeting she's talking about, we went on from 7 o'clock to gone 9:30. And I think a lot of people wanted to get home to their supper.
No.
And I believe I was the one who actually proposed a half-hour extension at 9 o'clock.
Makes no difference, I didn't have lunch, tea or supper. We're councillors.
I'd just like to reiterate that we have been quite good at getting grant funding, and if we've got too much in our savings accounts, we won't be getting any more grant funding.
Is it? When you haven't got any money left.
There's going to be no grants.
Chair, I think positions feel entrenched around this table, and I move we go to a vote.
I think that there seems to be. Go on and do it,
I don't know how we got that position, because we had a perfectly sensible debate with FNP, and now we're arguing about £2.80 a year. And I don't understand why we have a subcommittee that's ready to make recommendations. I certainly say Councillor Battle, that full council can then come back and decide on something else. But it's £2.80 a year, and I, for one, I'm really worried about the footpaths around the town. Hertfordshire doesn't do anything about them. I would like us to do more about them. You're quite right, Councillor Driscoll, I don't know the costing of that. But the more that we tie ourselves down in terms of the budget increase, the less opportunity there is. And to get those footpaths done, and we may need to employ staff to do so. But the point I'm making is that F&P, we had a debate, it was 10%, and I don't see any reason to change that on the basis of the debate tonight. So I'll be voting for 10%.
So I'm hearing 80-10.
10%.
Well, I second Councillor Stark's proposal.
Well, is this a proposal?
We've got a proposal.
We've got a proposal.
I'd like to understand what it is, if that's okay.
Point of order, I propose 8%.
I second that.
I heard first of all.
That was alright.
If this one fails, then the other one can go ahead.
That's it.
But it's a point of order. In the controversy.
No, we seconded it when you did. The point before this, we did that very thing. Now we can't change it now. Just because it's since we can't do that.
I defer to Councillor Park.
I think that makes sense. Councillor Barton, yes, which is what I've just spoken to. The recommendation is for 10%. So there's a proposal and a second for 10. We can vote on 10.
Yes.
So if that motion doesn't pass or fail, then we can talk about amendments and other percentages. So a proposal for the recommendation as written. Okay. Second by Kate. Okay, so all those in favour of a 10% increase in the precept?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 for.
Okay, and all those against?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Okay.
So
casting vote, I voted against, so I'll use the casting vote to vote against. Proposal for 8%,
especially those that change their mind.
I'm happy to propose 8%.
8%.
Actually, I think Councillor Martin should propose the 8%, because he did already.
Yeah, okay. No, second. Michelle, second that. Okay, so all those in favour of 8%?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
All those against?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Okay, so that's a tie.
That's what
So,
I was saying, Chairman.
That's why, yeah, casting vote the budget is set at 8% increase for the next year. So let's try and move on if we can. To review the earmark reserves and the level of general reserves. Are we happy with that? So to approve carry forward budgets, planned expenditure from earmark reserves. Do we have a list of those?
Yes, so that's the 50,000 from the property portfolio earmarked reserve and 20,000 skate park, 20,000 for play parks carry forwards.
Do we need to vote on this? Do that, Julie?
I thought the skate park and the play one were going to go into the earmarked reserves because we haven't actually
It
planned
will at end of year.
end of
If
year.
it's agreed to carry it forward, it moves
Oh,
into
it
an
moves.
earmark.
Okay. I'll propose that.
Any seconder for that one? Ed? Yeah. All those in favour?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, we're going to have 12, 13.
The transfer of the
Sorry, I haven't heard what the conversation's going.
It's to approve the carried forward budgets and planned expenditure from earmarked reserves.
So Valerie, these are, so in this year's budget, we had 20,000 for the play parks and £20,000 earmarked for the skate park. They all go into EMR accounts, so we have over 50,000 for the skate park, for instance.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it's just like I've missed
So it's that, and then as part of next year's budget, there's £50,000 coming out of the portfolio property earmarked reserves to do the repairs on this building.
Okay, thank you.
Might have to check numbers again.
So let's do all those in favour of that again.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
And then those against? No against? Abstentions?
1, 2, 3 abstentions.
And then finally, to approve the draft 5-year forward budget to be reviewed annually. Does this need to change based on?
Yeah.
Should we defer that one to the next one?
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to have to.
Because then I've got them.
Yes.
Okay, health and safety, to receive an update on health and safety.
There's a report just with the meeting documentation.
Right.
Don't need to unless anyone's got anything to explain.
No near misses or accidents in January. Some children's work at the marketplace. And some findings around the Christmas fair, around the location of generator. I don't need to go into too much detail, but I do. Any action on that?
It's just the generator issue that I think it's not just for the Christmas fair, it's for all activities that we undertake if we have portable generators.
James?
I just want to know, has there been any more incidents of failure of the facade of the Corn Exchange? Because I know a few years ago there was lumps of the facade dropping down. Has that been looked at at all?
Well, that's what that's
So
the
there hasn't been
survey
any
that's
reports
going
of
to be.
anything else falling down?
No, that's what the survey is for, to go off and check.
Well, yeah, obviously, that's why I was so concerned about the Corn Exchange, because we've had 2 surveys, like I said, which said it needed urgent work doing that we haven't done.
Strategy and forward planning to receive quotations for the facilitator. Did we get those?
Yeah, so there was one proposal as the meeting documentation. I have now had a second, so I did contact 3 people for quote. One was unable to quote. The other one was from the previous trainer, which is with the meeting documentation, but I have now had a third quote, which is for £1,500.
Okay. Any thoughts on that?
This is for the strategy.
This is for the strategy workshops, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it would have been helpful if all councillors would stand up for the training. before we went on to the strategy.
Julie?
Those quotes, they're just for one event, not for all of them, are they?
Yeah, that's just for 1 2 hour at the start, and then everything else, any other sessions we'd have to manage in-house.
Yeah, and so my comment really is, particularly if we have one for 1,500 there, you know, a whole day is, to my mind, is our paid for about £650 for a day, so I find that both were quite expensive.
The
Just for
1,500 is for 4 days of work, but a 2 hour session.
Yeah, okay.
John?
Just a quick point in response to Lily's point. You're quite right, it would be beneficial if all councillors could commit. However, as you have often pointed out yourself, many of us work during the time that these things are on, including evenings and Saturdays, and we can't all commit to that kind of thing.
Yeah, I just thought it was important.
Oh yeah, I agree absolutely, but there are reasons people can't.
Absolutely.
So, Danny?
Sorry?
Oh, sorry, I thought you had a hand up.
Oh, well, yeah, I was just saying that. I mean, these prices, I think, are very expensive, really, for what they are. I'm not saying I'm a professional, so I know whether the prices are right or not, but they're a lot. And given the budgets that we've just set and the constraints that we're going to see, I can't vote for spending that sort of money on that sort of project.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely agree.
Yeah. Can't afford it.
I would agree, it does seem very expensive for 2 hours of £1,500 for 2 hours of work. And yes, of course, there would have to be some
But
preparation
the other
beforehand.
one is for 700, the 700 one we'd already actually had with the meeting documentation, the 1,500 was the one that I've just had in.
Okay.
So we've got quotes at 700 and 1,500. Is it?
I still think we can't afford it. No, we have to save some money.
I think we could. I think it would be good to try and get some more quotes or a couple more quotes. Just, I mean, do we know if this is the market? If it's the market price, are we sure this is the?
It is, and if I've tried looking elsewhere, I can't find any other suitable ones that I've found. If anybody's got any contacts, I'm happy to contact them. Obviously, if we don't have a facilitator, then it means
we try the
we're
LG
going to
now?
have to run. No, but usually when I've contacted them, they're not interested in this tier of for the next tier up where they.
But they would still use consultants. That's all.
They do, but they don't tend to engage with them.
Yeah.
Two things. The £700 is from a woman who's already got to know us, most of us, to some extent. So how does £700 equate to our unspent training budget over the last, I don't know, however many years? Do you have an idea?
Well, I don't think the training budget has been fully spent up until, obviously this year it's overspent because we have done some training, but prior to that I'm not aware that it has ever been fully spent for several years prior to that.
Do you know off the top of your head what the training budget is normally each year? Sorry to ask you. Just a ballpark figure.
Previous years, so this, I think it's 500, I want to say. Okay. Is it more?
In which case I think £700 would be very well spent if it enables us to work together better as a council.
It's too expensive.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I think if we're going to incur this expenditure, we need to be fairly united on it, and evidently there's a lot of disquiet around the table about the cost. So unfortunately, I'd suggest we defer this for a month while we try and get some
Can
sort
I just say,
of additional
if
quotes or...
I think it's important that we do move towards a strategy. This has been deferred several times, and we have got a draft strategy template that was done at the last day that we did, and so it's deciding the priorities that go into that. I think we do need to move forward so that the budget is better informed for next year, because that's part of the reason why a lot of the projects haven't been budgeted for, is because we haven't been able to move forward with the strategy. Until the council has decided its priorities, they can't be budgeted for and included into the budget, because we have several projects that different councillors have as priorities, and this needs to be moved forward. I'm happy if you don't want to agree a facilitator, that's fine, but then you need to understand that we will need to do this ourselves without an external facilitator. And I think that is something that you need to consider. Thank you.
I had proposed of having, I think it was January's meeting, of having 3 evening sessions and also a half-day session during the day to allow staff or councillors who can't make an evening session to actually come up with projects, and I was willing to facilitate them. I won't be doing it on any, because we won't be actually choosing what our priority there. We're just helping to determine what our projects could be, or how we'd like to see Ross change through, I don't know, riverside management changes, or the brook or play parks, etc. It's just to capture those, and the draft one that I did send out, I did capture, or try to capture, as many projects as I could remember that had come up there, and I put 1 or 2 in that I thought we hadn't done last time, or combined them from the previous strategy. So I'm willing to facilitate that for people, because we'd all come through the town or through the various committees to agree whether or not those projects, or rank them, and then the full council or management committee will actually agree to that ranking, and then we can actually go out, hopefully by July, to a consultation of the town residents on those projects as well.
I'm just wondering whether the facilitator has to be council specific, specific, whether or not you can get a generalised someone that can just channel requirements rather than having to.
I just want to propose that we extend the meeting for half an hour.
Sorry. Only half an hour, Danny. Come on, be realistic.
I'll second that. I've got my hand still up as well.
Okay, so all those in favour of half an hour extension?
Yeah, in favour of an hour. Oh God.
Sorry.
That was I missed how many, because
all those in favour.
All those in favour of
half an hour extension.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, so 16.
And all those against? Abstentions?
Too tired.
Me too.
Oh dear. We're going to get to go.
Okay, so yeah.
I just wanted to establish exactly, is there enough money in the training budget allocated for next year to cover the cost of this? Because if there is enough money in the training budget, then this would seem to be the most suitable candidate for how we spend that money. We're not spending money that we haven't got, we're spending money that we budgeted for.
Can you do the budget, so I can't tell.
Well, what was in the budget? I mean, as long as there's not less than sort of 2%.
Councillor training next year, £1,000 is currently in.
So there was enough in the council budget to cover that.
Yeah. Can I ask which one? Because one was 750 and the other was 50.
For one of those, enough to cover. Well, can't cover the 781, which is the apparently the
And then that's
facilitator
the
that
training
did
we
it
can have all year.
No, there's still another couple of £100 in there. Or we could bring a proposal and agree to spend something on reserves on training, but if we needed to.
Okay.
Anybody else on that one? No. So, are you proposing we spend £700 to do this? To have a
I
facilitator for a workshop?
feel that the clerk has made a strong case that we need to agree what our priorities are.
Yeah.
I feel that the clerk has also pointed out that a lot of the perhaps things that we've talked about this evening that people wish to be included in the budget weren't included in the budget because we hadn't done this scoping work in advance. And if we have done this scoping work and we've agreed what we want to include in the budget for next year, then we won't be having these kinds of discussions because we'll know when we sit down here the projects that we want to try and take on. That's all.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, even if some councillors do have projects that they'd like to be put forward, they wouldn't be put forward anyway necessarily. So to my mind, I think it's a waste of money having a strategy when you might as well just get X amount of councillors and decide everything.
I'm happy to propose that we do this. The clerks are very keen to get this done. That we have a strategy in place, and I think the facilitator will be helpful. So I'm happy to propose that we go for the £700.
Can I just make a point before we vote? The reason I say that, this facilitator will just do one evening. We're proposing to have 3 evenings to do all of this, plus a half a day.
Yeah.
So it's just for one evening. That's not about it.
It's a chucking money away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's scrap the whole thing.
Well, it's on vote.
Yeah, okay, so I'm proposing, I think having a facilitator would be helpful.
I second just for I'm just not having, following Julian's comment, are we talking like £700 for an evening, so,
Yeah.
so that's 2.5, near enough £2.5
But that is the prep before and after, the preparing the work that's going to be done in the evening.
But we're not, it's
the
the way it's, I thought we were voting to spend £700, but we're actually voting to spend quite a bit more than that, is that right? No.
It's only be one evening.
So then any work after that we would have to do internally. Because if you remember, this has been discussed to facilitate all of the sessions was one of the more expensive.
So if every single councillor doesn't turn up, it's pretty pointless.
Okay.
I'm happy to propose that.
I'll second that.
Okay, so all those in favour?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay, all those against?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Actually, sorry, can I change to abstention because I don't want my vote to be used politically that I'm against doing the strategy for the town.
Actually, can I
Because
just...
actually, that's a very good point. There's an election coming up, isn't there, soon? So
Absolutely.
be careful.
It's not a neighbour.
It's not that people will use the flyers as
Especially in that hospital, that's what I'd like to explain.
Okay, so if we can do this,
Okay.
all those in favour?
All those in favour?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay, and all those against?
Sorry.
Okay, so then any abstentions?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
Oh, were you abstentions?
Yes, sorry.
10 abstentions.
Okay,
So always abstaining.
So the motion's carried.
Work together.
There doesn't seem to be. There has to be a willingness for people to.
Okay, here we go. Mayoral selection procedure. This is to agree the procedure for the length of service method for selection of the mayor from May 26. Any comments?
Sorry, I completely missed that. There was too much noise and hassle and bustle going around then. There was too much.
If we could try and keep the background noise down, it'd be helpful. This is for the mayoral selection procedure, and it's to agree the procedure for the length of service method for the selection of the mayor from May 26.
I've got a couple of comments having read through this. I'm right on board with choosing the mayor by length of service. I'm fine with that. The only points I would make is I I feel it should be, and I'm willing to be overruled on this, but I feel it ought to be continual service on the council rather than total time you spent on the council. I would also be in favour of striking the.
If we could keep the back.
Yeah, sorry, if I can
please.
finish
Thank you.
first. Yeah, thank you. I'd also be in favour of, if it's a tie, the idea of doing of making the highest number of votes the decider. It's not really fair because not every. I think it will give me an advantage, in fact, because there are 500 odd more voters in North Ward than there are in some other wards. So I'd be just draw lots for it. Just keep the thing simple. It seems to be. We have to send a written opt-out. I don't feel we should be doing that. I would feel it's enough to decline. If you're nominated for mayor through length of service, you can decline at the meeting. I don't feel that you necessarily have to give too much advance notice of that. But otherwise, I'm more than happy with the proposal to choose the mayor by length of service.
I didn't understand what happens after that person has been mayor. Is there a period where they can't apply to be mayor again for a number of years? Or because otherwise the length of service, they will always be the person that's been the longest. They could just stay on for eternity. But it doesn't say that in the actual script. I've read it quite carefully. It doesn't say how that will be determined.
Chair, myself and Carla, we discussed this at length, and today we actually saw that loophole. So I was actually going to propose a small amendment which says that once the mayor has served their time, they drop down to the bottom. So there's all that rolling. So it stops someone, being at the top constantly. So you serve, you go down to the bottom. Shut up.
I was going to propose that rather than it going to the bottom, that they couldn't be mayor again for at least 4 years, which would coincide with the period of each council. Because you could end up with a completely new council and a whole load of new councillors, none of whom want to be mayor because they haven't got the experience of being councillors, where you would have, in that scenario, you would have somebody who has council experience who would be of value to the officers. Just a thought.
I think if we did have a completely new council, which we might well have a few new councillors, I think it is down to the mayor if they want to take that up or not. I think it should go back to the beginning again. I certainly don't think 4 years is long enough because you could have it every 4 years. And actually, as has been seen in the past, certain parties have tried to ensure that they have had elected mayors leading up to general elections playing political games. So I would like that to stop.
So is there a proposal to put into the text?
Yeah, there is a proposal to put in that if a councillor has been previously elected, they go and start again. So it goes back to them starting from day dot after they have served their term as mayor.
Should I propose the amendment?
Yeah,
which
please.
Carla and myself.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good one.
I asked Carla, could we insert a clause regarding eligibility and rotation? Suggested text. Once a councillor has served a full term as mayor, their name shall be moved to the bottom of the length of service order for the purpose of future mayoral selection. They will arguably remain the most senior councillor in the chamber, but for the specific purpose of the mayoral rota, they are placed behind all other councillors who have not yet served. Which may resolve that idea.
And deputy mayor?
The deputy mayor is always going to be the second on this. That was part of the proposal.
That was the original proposal.
John?
Sorry.
Oh, sorry, I'll come back.
There's a couple of small points really. I'm not sure that the phrase most senior, while I appreciate it isn't intended to be
length of service.
Longest serving then is a better way to put it. Is all it implies that some of us are more important than others, which is not, of course, the case. But it seems a simple change in wording would eliminate that confusion. Also, I note this. Due to the established protocol, this vote is expected to be a formality. Oh, sorry, I've started with the wrong place. The mayor designated, deputy mayors designates and name are presented for the formal election, which is decided by a simple majority vote of the councillors present and voting as legally required. I get that, as legally required, that's fine. This vote is expected to be a formality. What if it's not? What if the councillors take against one of the candidates? What do we do then?
I'm quite sure they will.
Maybe. I don't know. It's just, it seems to be a...
Doesn't that go against predetermination?
No. It's not at all.
Possibly.
What? Predetermination, genuinely.
I just
Wow.
like this document actually. I think it leaks in lots of different ways. I don't think it's clear and concise and is open to interpretation depending which direction you look at it from.
Not at all.
Yeah.
How?
Works in Henry.
Well, I don't like
Works
it.
in each.
Well, that's what this document
Can
comes from, is it?
we have one conversation, please?
I don't like bureaucracy, I like democracy. So if somebody wants to be mayor, you vote for him or not, and that's it. How long is in there? That's it.
Really?
I believe in democracy also. And it is quite right what John said. What if some councillors take against one councillor? That'd stop that happening.
Which works both ways, of course. Let's
But
not forget
that'd
that.
stop that happening, wouldn't it? If we had what we're proposing, what Richard's proposing, it would stop that.
Not necessarily, because it's still, at the end of all the words in this, it still comes back to a simple majority vote of the council.
Absolutely, but we'd hope that morally.
We would hope is not a policy, is it? That's the point. It needs to be clear. That's all. It's one of the points where this document falls down, frankly.
It works in Hereford. I don't understand why it doesn't work here.
We're just going to hear from the clerk.
I was just going to say that it would be included in standing orders, but unless something is legally required and in bold in standing orders, any standing order can be suspended.
Yeah.
So if it was voted to not go with that, that could happen.
So do we need a procedure in case of that? Let's make this document even messier.
It needs to be more watertight than it is.
To my mind, it doesn't really matter because legally you have to elect a mayor. If the number of councillors wish to disregard this, there's nothing we can do. We can't actually make it legal tight. I think we've got to really trust ourselves, go with this. It may be imperfect, see what happens, and maybe adjust accordingly. I don't think we can make it any more tighter legally because every councillor will have their unique vote in this, and you have to vote in the mayor by legislation. So that's my argument. But for the record, I'll be abstaining from this.
Yeah.
I have a different point that's different from the red part, unfortunately. I've brought this up before in our protocols, and I'm going to bring it up again, although it wasn't accepted last time. It states in there, his, her, she, he, and it says about stimulating the community pride. In some cases that wouldn't stimulate community pride, so I do think that is changing to they, there.
That can be done, that has been changed in
the other ones. Thank you.
Michelle?
I was just going to say, for future councils, it would probably be, because it's not going to be us, I'm not going to sit on there trying forever and a day, that it is robust, we have got the wording straight, just so for continuity really.
Lou?
All our policies are like policies, they're always being reviewed. This policy will be reviewed as well.
Yeah.
It may not be perfect, but we can start with it, because I've read it as well. And I could argue over some of the words in that, but I'm not going to. And that's good for me being a creative, So I would propose we start with this. And if, when we do get to the stage where we have to apply it, if there are issues there, then we can revisit the policy and review it.
I would second that proposal.
I would second that proposal.
But it's an amendment as suggested by
absolutely.
Councillor McAvoy and the clerk.
So can I just convert, as well as that amendment, I know Councillor Windham has mentioned about the highest number of just having it at the time. The point that I would raise there is what would you do in the case of an uncontested election. So I think that is something that needs consideration. If there was an uncontested election, there wouldn't be a number of votes to go on for that.
I don't think it should be.
So do you want it amended as well as the length of service to just have it as a drawing of lots?
Yeah, because otherwise with co-opted members as well, it's going to be difficult.
And my ward is the smallest.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it'd be fair to all lots.
Change the process to the
So my proposal is
I'll second.
Chair, with the amendments as discussed at the meeting, can I propose the consent?
I second.
Yes. Okay, so Louis is proposing.
I think Richard should second it.
Yes. It's very hard work to be into it.
One of you.
I'm happy to propose it. Sorry, second.
Okay, fine. Valerie's seconded it, so all those in favour?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 4.
All those against?
1, 2, 2 again. Oh,
That's me just with
right. Yes.
not voting twice.
Abstentions?
1, 2, 3, 3 abstentions. Yep.
So that's adopted. We'll need you to draw the lead table.
Got it already.
Okay.
Who'll be deputy mayor? Who'll be deputy mayor?
We'll find out in a minute. Okay, so policy to consider adoption of the following policy. We've got an IT policy and an AI policy. Any comments on these, Louis?
On the IT policy, Carla, in the section on equipment, fourth paragraph, we've either got to agree that individuals who damage or lose equipment will pay a certain amount up front or not.
Which one?
It's on the equipment.
Yeah, that's why
paragraph
you
4.
need to decide in a
We need to decide, so we can't vote on that until we decide.
And there were a couple of areas, the ones that were shaded yellow, that I was waiting for a response from our IT people. So the first highlighted paragraph under the use of own devices, if transferring data, they've recommended that is included, that section. And then there's a line highlighted under password storage and management where there was about a council approved encrypted password. We don't currently have that, so they suggested we either remove it or we'd have to pay extra to add it. And then the final bit, there is a section in there about monitoring, which is not currently in place. That's under the monitoring section. So again, we'd either have to delete that, or rephrase to note future plans, because we'd have to pay extra to add that.
Julie?
First of all, I'm not sure whether we could legally charge an amount, but if we had to specify an amount, I suggest £100. That the second one, in terms of having encryption all through a VPN, I think we should not be transferring data over email. It should be as a transfer into a team site, particularly for council staff, and there or on our website, and we have sufficient capability there. We also got changing passwords there. I think normally it's we should be using the one that's on our computers. I think staff have one anyway, don't they, as part of Windows? There's a Windows password manager. So I think we should be using that or our own one if we have our own devices. And with respect to monitoring, if there is the case, or certainly we need forensics to undertake that, then we should identify clearly to our staff that all our activities may well be monitored, because a lot of computers do that anyway, and you need specialist software to see what they're actually doing, and also being able to read individuals' emails should the need arise through various HR investigations, personnel investigations if needed. So we should warn people that that could happen. That was it.
Yeah, just a quick point. I appreciate I'm probably bolting the stable door after the horse has long disappeared. Just regarding the AI policy, I'd like to see some kind of acknowledgement of the enormous environmental costs associated with AI-generated slop, for want of a better word. And I don't know if we can put a line in that we can minimise its use, something like that. Just a thought.
Thanks. Looking at the AI policy as well, I've got to ask, was the policy written using AI? Because it does look a little bit like it was written by ChatGPT, and if it was...
It wasn't.
Okay, because if it was, it should say that this was written using AI.
It wasn't.
What?
Only once we've adopted.
Only once we've adopted. Yeah, you got it.
It's a paradox.
So with sharing and councillors, other people being able to access councillors' emails, surely we'd have to have a sharing agreement written out directly with clients, i.e. members of the public that come into us, if other people are going to be accessing their personal information. Because Louis,
I'm on VPN.
Yeah, I know, but you and I have spoken before, and you haven't been able to hand over information because you don't have a sharing agreement. However, what we're saying is that there will be access to councillors' individual emails if the need arose, but that leaves us open to GDPR unless we've got a sharing agreement. If we don't have a sharing agreement from those individuals.
You don't need that. We're not saying that I could access your emails just because I wanted to.
No, I understand that.
It is, if an investigation had to be done, then all people need to be aware that all their computer use, including emails, it wouldn't be on your personal device, it'd be only
no,
on
I
the
understand
server, would be investigated, because it could be, but it's under GDPR, you had to have a legal reason of why accessing stuff, and that would be a legal reason.
So that would be a legal investigation. That's what I'm trying to.
If there was say a councillor was accused of bullying or something like that, they're quite harsh there, or maybe more serious, but it hadn't yet gone to a police matter. Someone like the clerk, in terms of that, could be gathering evidence based on their email on that, so they need to have access to all of their email to actually see what to actually take and pass up the tree. That is an entirely legal, legitimate reason
I understand
for that. If it gets passed on to the police, well, then it gets passed on to the police, and they will have everything.
I understand that, but obviously because of the nature of some stuff that I do, some stuff is extremely sensitive, so I will then divert the people to the hub rather than asking me as a town councillor to do stuff if I can't keep their information safe. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, because that's probably not councillor business.
It is actually quite often.
But there is a new act that is mentioned at the end, the DUAA, Data Use and Access Act, that's fairly new. It's only coming in 2025, and that gives greater sharing with police and agencies.
I've got a sharing
allows, but that has extended who you can legally share data with and the purposes that you can share it for.
I know, we've updated ours.
have we answered all the questions for this bit?
Well, if I just confirm, so did you want to put an amount in there, or to loss or damage? The individual is responsible for any amount, or do you want to remove?
Yeah.
Louis.
You couldn't do it because it was tent.
But it does say due to an act of negligence.
Yeah, but you've got to prove that.
Why not?
Is it legally, is it not worth the hassle? Is it just...
I agree with you.
Take it out.
Take it out. That's why
Okay, take that sentence
I
out.
don't think we can hold it.
And so the section on transferring data, either by email or by other means, do you want that included or excluded?
I don't think we're actually needed, but no, I think we do need it. We should not be using that means.
If we do have it, we've covered
So
that to
keep it in with that wording.
Yes.
And then the item regarding passwords, are you happy for that second line, passwords to be stored using a council approved encrypted password manager, to be removed or kept? So we're going to have to...
Well, you already have one under Windows, didn't you?
IT is saying no. They're saying they have one for all the passwords, but we don't have access to
We
that.
don't have one that's something like the county council on our laptops.
We don't. So remove that one.
Yeah.
And then the last bit is just the part about monitoring. So IT have either said it's not currently in place, either omit or rephrase to note future plans can be added for a fee. So this is about the systems in place that can prevent inappropriate internet use and monitor and record all internet usage and a log being kept of that. Do you want to remove that or rephrase it?
I personally think it should be maybe rephrased. Increased IT security measures may be applied to those who work there. So we're not saying we're doing it that way.
Okay, so may be applied.
That's active, but there'll always be. You're always going to leave a digital footprint, and those will be accessed.
Okay, so if you can vote with those amendments then.
Yeah, we're going to do the AI policy as well. Yeah.
So on the point of underneath where it said specify amount, you've got to protect confidential information unless it's a requirement of the job. This has been authorised, forbidden photographs or videos to be taken in council premises without prior written permission to the town clerk. How does that affect members of the public? So, for instance, tonight we have a member of the public recording the meeting. Is this completely separate? Does this just govern us, or because obviously it's law that it's allowed?
There's a line underneath that says it doesn't exclude your statutory rights under the legislation. Essentially,
Openness of local government regulations 2014. It's just because of obviously no. And then obviously with the other amendment of changing it to gender neutral terms as well.
Yeah. Was that for the civic?
Oh, was that the civic?
That was civic.
We haven't got to that yet then, so sorry, I'm getting
Okay,
confused
so
between policies.
a proposal to adopt the IT policy and the AI policy.
Did my comment on AI get taken on board, or is that not something that is important?
Could we add something to be conscious of AI's environmental?
Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so a proposal for those policies. I'm happy to propose it.
Second, yeah.
Seconded, John, all those in favour?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 4.
And then any against? Any abstentions? Just one?
Okay.
Okay, so the next one is to review the civic protocol. So that will incorporate length of service changes that we've agreed.
Yeah.
And also to make it gender neutral based on Councillor Lister's proposal. Any of the changes there? No. The next one is risk management policy and assessment. Any proposed changes to that one? No. Okay. In that case, a proposal for those two policies.
Sorry, can we vote on them separately?
Yes, happy to do that. All those in favour of the civic protocol adoption?
Need a
Proposal. Yeah, sorry. Proposal. Michelle, happy to propose? Yeah. Seconder. Yeah. Valerie. Yeah. All those in favour?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 for.
All those against?
1.
Any abstentions?
There's abstention. One against, one abstention.
Okay, so the risk management policy and assessment. Any changes to that one? Are we happy with that one yet? I'm happy to propose that we carry on with that. Julian, to second. Okay. All those in favour?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's unanimous.
Okay, so between official representatives inside bodies, we could do these by exception. That would be helpful. Anybody have any updates? Okay.
I'll let Beth go first.
Sorry, Beth, yeah.
Anne from the litter clean-up crew, sorry, whatever they call it, I've lost the plot, I think. Said, basically, she says a very big thank you. There were 15 purple sacks of litter collected with the help of 4 councillors, and an abandoned TV in a dog bed and a full tin of gloss paint. She would like to this reported to the meeting. Obviously, sorry, no, not coming. But I think that's sort of a bid to get more involvement if anybody feels like getting stuck in.
I just wanted to update from now.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So we've started a men's wild camp in abseiling, mountaineering, 10-week programme with a basis in physical and mental health. We've trained 2 walking and orienteering people that we were supporting to begin with. We've started a cookery class that we've had an uptake of about 12 people each week, and we've taken on a specific housing support worker as well. That's all over the last couple of weeks. So thank you.
The Ross Church Association is disbanded.
Okay.
The what, sorry?
Tourism.
The Church Association. So it's on this, so it can just be struck out of this time.
Yeah.
Valerie?
We attended 2 meetings, one the board of the Community Association with Councillor Bartram, and the other one the Ross Charity Trustees. In both cases, nothing specific that the council needs to really think about.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any more no? Conscious of time, I'm thinking maybe just an extra 10 minutes, we can probably do it. I'm happy to propose that. I'm not happy to propose that, but I will propose that. Second. Sure. All those in favour?
Who was abstaining or against?
Against that one. Abstentions?
Did you vote for?
Yes, because I'm getting.
Oh, you did.
I'm trying to rush it through.
Okay, so we've got the reports from board members there on the website in the documentation. And then we can confirm the date of the scheduled meeting, which is the 9th of March. And then we do have one confidential item, so we'll have to thank members of the public for attending.